Hey everyone, I wanted to do a video right now to talk about iatrogenic or iatrogenic harm. The reason I want to talk about this subject is within the field of psychology and psychiatry, there is a tendency right now to acquiesce to the claims of a patient. And the reason that that can be dangerous in some cases is because if a patient is suffering from maybe, for example, some sort of underlying medical condition, so they may lack a clarity of thought, or maybe there are some nutritional deficiencies going on that are impacting their cognitive functioning, it's very important that a psychologist or psychiatrist not necessarily acquiesce to the claims that the patient is making, because those claims, if they acquiesce to it, they may be causing iatrogenic harm. And what that actually does is it kind of reinforces the viewpoint of the patient and could lead to further harm, could lead to a worse outcome, could lead to further endangerment, not just from a perspective of self-harm, but actually it would be caused by either the complacency of the care provider, or it would actually be exacerbated by the actions that that care provider takes that are kind of reinforcing a position that the patient has that is harmful to them. I think a good example of this is when it comes to young children and their gender dysphoria. So there are obviously a lot of people out there that will say that in a situation like that, they will say it's best to go with what the patient thinks because of the fear that the patient may self-harm if the healthcare provider doesn't automatically go along with the narrative that is being presented by the patient. The danger in this, though, is that just like with other aspects of cognitive development in teenagers, there is an experimental phase. There is a phase in that period of time where they will want to kind of explore different things, and they're trying to figure out who they are. So what they may espouse to be 100% who they are at that time may not be in alignment with who they would become, 10, 15, 20 years down the road. And the problem with permanent altercations to the way that their bodies function at such a young age is that just as all people change as they age and they mature and they gain in wisdom and insight, children will do the same. So if you go along with a narrative that they present in early childhood or early adolescence, and they change their mind down the line, if you've put them in a position where, from a biological perspective, there's no coming back from that, I think that that is extremely dangerous and potentially litigious, because they are going to be facing, I believe these providers that are going along with that are going to be facing some pretty substantial legal ramifications as a result of their complacency or their recommendations or procedures that were done that went along with a narrative that a young person had when they were perhaps experimenting, perhaps confused, perhaps trying to test the boundaries of society, perhaps rebellious, whatever the case may be. And I just want to say that the driving factors for acquiescing to this seem to be financial. They do not seem to be truly what's in the best interest of the patient, or from an honest perspective, trying to keep that patient from self-harm. I do not believe that the actions of these care providers that are going along with this gender dysphoric narrative and reinforcing that in the patient are actually doing the patient any good. In fact, I believe they're doing the patient substantial harm. And I just wanted to share this information and talk a little bit about iatrogenic harm. And I wanted to mention a little bit of information about it so that you could potentially explore what the legal ramifications for that sort of behavior are. I hope that this video has been informative. God bless.